Welcome to the realm of science fiction. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more content. Enjoy listening. Virgil Brooks was among the most successful commanders on Earth. Yet, Virgil's ambition always soared beyond the boundaries of the planet. A new opportunity had presented itself, an elite offer from a military unit preparing for a space expedition. The mission stakes were high. If they succeeded, Astrospace Colony would be theirs entirely. When the proposal was brought to Virgil, he set forth one condition. He would lead the unit, and upon a successful outcome, he would take command of the colony itself. The military unit didn't hesitate to accept. After all, there was no better commander on Earth than Virgil Brooks. With their agreement sealed, preparations began immediately. Virgil approached the space mission with meticulous planning, ensuring no detail was overlooked. His reputation as the world's best commander wasn't built on luck, but on his strategic brilliance, exceptional leadership, and unwavering trust in his team. This mission, however, would demand far more than any Earth-based operation ever had. Beyond engaging potential enemies, it would involve surviving in an unknown environment, managing limited resources, and contending with the harsh, unyielding conditions of space. When preparations were complete, Virgil and his team departed Earth aboard the spacecraft Aide. Throughout the journey, Virgil worked tirelessly to keep morale high. Though the silence and darkness of space unsettled some of the crew, Virgil's calm demeanor and resolute determination reassured them. Upon reaching Astrospace Colony, Virgil and his team immediately devised a plan to secure a safe landing. They chose a plateau near the colony, a location offering both strategic oversight and defensive advantage. The team quickly established a camp, setting up early warning systems and checking their weapons, while Virgil assigned clear roles and responsibilities. His leadership and foresight were once again on full display. That evening, the crew gathered around a makeshift campfire, its warmth a stark contrast to the cold void surrounding them. Virgil stood before them, his voice steady and commanding, yet full of conviction. Tomorrow will be one of the most important days of our lives. This colony isn't just a piece of land, it's a symbol of hope for humanity's future. Each of you is here because you are the best at what you do. Tomorrow may bring a tough fight, but remember, our strength lies not only in our weapons, but in our belief in each other. Rest well tonight. Tomorrow, we will make history. His words struck a chord with every member of the team. As they sat silently by the fire, they drew strength from one another, steeling themselves for the challenges ahead. At dawn, under the pale light of a distant sun, the team was ready. Virgil convened them one final time to review their strategy. Their primary goal was to neutralize the colony's defense systems before advancing toward the main entrance. Virgil's final instructions were clear. We move forward together. No one gets left behind. One for all for one. As the mission commenced, Virgil led from the front. The colony's defenses proved more formidable than anticipated, but under Virgil's guidance, the team adapted and overcame each obstacle. The sound of gunfire, explosions, and shouted orders filled the air as the team pushed forward. Virgil remained a pillar of strength, guiding his team through the chaos. When they reached the colony's heart, the fiercest battle began. The defending forces launched a desperate final stand. Virgil rallied his team, shouting, "Now is the time to give everything you've got. This colony will be ours." Inspired by his courage, the team surged forward, breaking through the final lines of resistance. In the colony's control room, Virgil declared victory. "We did it. Astrospace Colony is ours." After the mission's success, Virgil's team began preparations for a ceremony to officially crown him as the colony's leader. They insisted he take his rightful place in the ornate chair they had prepared on the plateau. Yet, Virgil repeatedly postponed the event, offering vague explanations like, "It's not the right time," or "There's still much to do." What the team didn't know was that during the battle, Virgil had encountered a mysterious alien woman deep within the colony. With her lavender skin, platinum blonde hair, and an otherworldly aura, she was unlike anything he'd ever seen. She had introduced herself and expressed her desire to be his advisor. From the moment they met, an unexplainable connection had formed between them. Her wisdom and strength captivated Virgil, and over time, a subtle yet undeniable tension developed between them. Virgil chose to keep this encounter a secret, believing his team wouldn't understand. This secret weighed heavily on him, and was the real reason he kept delaying the leadership ceremony. As days passed, the team grew increasingly frustrated with Virgil's evasiveness. Eventually, they persuaded him to proceed with the ceremony. On the appointed day, they gathered eagerly around the plateau, awaiting their commander's arrival. When Virgil appeared, he wasn't alone. Walking beside him was the alien woman. The sight of her left the team stunned. The trust they had placed in Virgil wavered as they struggled to process what they were seeing. Their revered leader, the man who had led them to victory, now stood with someone they viewed as an outsider, an alien. Virgil took his place in the ceremonial chair, the weight of the moment sinking in. The alien woman, standing tall beside him, emanated a quiet but powerful presence. Her lavender skin shimmered faintly under the colony's artificial lighting, her platinum hair reflecting the cold, sterile environment. She exuded an aura of mystery and authority that seemed to resonate with the very heart of the colony. Virgil glanced at her briefly, their unspoken connection apparent in the brief exchange of a look. The silence that followed was overwhelming. The members of his team, who had once fought alongside him with unwavering trust and loyalty, now stood frozen, their expressions a mix of confusion, anger, and betrayal. Some couldn't tear their eyes away from the alien woman, while others cast hesitant glances at Virgil, trying to reconcile the man they had followed with the realities standing before them. One by one, they began to leave. It wasn't a dramatic exit, but a quiet retreat, each individual slowly turning their back on Virgil, as if the weight of their disillusionment was too heavy to bear. The tension in the air was thick, as though time itself had momentarily stopped. Their footsteps echoed in the cold expanse of the plateau, each step a silent judgment of their former leader. Virgil's gaze never wavered from the group. He watched them with an unreadable expression, his posture rigid, as if he had expected this all along. His eyes occasionally flicked to the alien woman, who remained unmoving, an inscrutable figure beside him. She didn't seem to share in the discomfort of the moment. She was there with him, unwavering, a reminder of the path he had chosen. The last of the team members, once so steadfast in their belief in Virgil's leadership, turned and walked away, disappearing into the shadows of the colony. It was then that Virgil exhaled slowly, a sigh that seemed to carry the weight of all his decisions. He had led them to victory, had brought them to this place of power, but now it was clear that his path would no longer align with theirs. He had chosen a different future, one that was beyond the understanding of the people who had once called him their commander. Turning his attention back to the alien woman, Virgil spoke for the first time since the ceremony began. His voice was calm, almost detached. "It's done. They're gone." The woman nodded, a faint smile tugging at the corners of her lips. "They were never meant to stay, Virgil," she said softly, her voice smooth and melodic. "You have a greater purpose now. This colony, it will thrive under your leadership. Together, we will ensure that—" Virgil looked around at the empty plateau, the weight of his isolation settling in. There was no going back now. He had made his choice, and the consequences were clear. The bond between him and his former team was irrevocably broken. Yet, despite the emptiness he felt, there was also a strange sense of peace. The colony was his now. No one would challenge his rule, and with the alien woman by his side, the future seemed filled with endless possibilities. "We'll begin the next phase then," Virgil said, his voice steady once more. "The colony needs to be rebuilt, its systems need to be strengthened, and there's much more we need to learn about the galaxy, about what lies beyond." The alien woman nodded again, her eyes glowing faintly. "The universe holds many secrets. We are just beginning to unlock them." As the two of them stood there, the colony stretching out before them, Virgil felt a sense of finality. The colony, which had once been a symbol of humanity's expansion, was now a reflection of his own ambition and the strange new alliance he had formed. It was a new beginning, one he had embraced fully, even if it meant leaving everything else behind. Silently, the alien woman reached out, placing a hand on Virgil's shoulder. He didn't flinch. Instead, he felt the comfort of her touch, a calming certainty that flowed through him like a steady current. There was no hesitation in her movement, no second-guessing. It was as though she had always been meant to be here, standing by his side. Her presence was both foreign and familiar, an enigma he couldn't entirely unravel, yet somehow understood. Together, they would lead this colony, no longer just a military outpost, but a beacon for something new, something larger than themselves. The stars above were no longer distant dreams, but goals within their reach. Astra Colony was more than just a victory, it was a new beginning. And for the first time in his life, Virgil Brooks understood what it truly meant to control not just land but destiny. The alien woman spoke, her voice as ethereal and soothing as the quiet hum of the colony's engines. "Virgil, the colony is only a small piece of what awaits. We have much work to do, but the foundation is here." She gestured toward the sprawling city below them, its metallic structures gleaming under the dim light of distant stars. The streets were still empty, save for the scattered crew members who had left, but to Virgil, it was a blank canvas, a place where they could shape something that would outlast their lifetimes. Virgil nodded, taking in the sight. His mind raced with possibilities. This was no longer about just surviving. It was about thriving, expanding, and reaching out to a universe that had always felt out of reach. "We'll need to secure the resources, strengthen the defenses," he murmured to himself. His military mind was already working out logistics and strategies, but there was something else now. A deeper understanding, a new sense of purpose that went beyond the rigidity of military tactics. "Of course," the alien woman replied, her voice calm, yet filled with an unspoken knowledge. "But you must also remember, your people will not be the only ones who take notice. There are others out there who will seek to test your resolve. Some will come for power, others for knowledge. We will be ready." Virgil turned to face her, his eyes locking with hers. Her lavender skin seemed to pulse with an inner light, and her platinum hair shimmered in the soft glow of the colony's lights. There was an intensity in her gaze that both intrigued and unsettled him. He had learned much from her in a short time, but she remained an enigma. He knew that there was more to her than what she had shared. Yet, for now, it was enough. They were partners, united by a common goal. "We'll face them together," he said with renewed resolve. "I didn't come this far to let anyone take what we've built. Astra is ours, and it will stand as a testament to our strength." The alien woman smiled, a knowing look crossing her face. "It will, Virgil. It will." They stood in silence for a moment, each contemplating the weight of what lay ahead. There was so much to do. The colony needed to be fully operational, its systems refined and expanded. There would be no shortage of challenges, both from external forces and internal factions who might question Virgil's decisions. But in this moment, with the alien woman by his side, he felt a certainty he had never known before. The hum of the colony's systems reverberated through the ground beneath their feet. The distant stars twinkled like tiny sparks of possibility. There was a new energy in the air, an electric buzz of potential that Virgil could feel deep in his bones. This was not just about taking control. It was about creating something lasting, something that would endure long after they were gone. Astra would be their legacy. It would be a place of strength, of discovery, of exploration. "Shall we begin?" the alien woman asked, her voice carrying an undercurrent of anticipation. Virgil looked at her, his mind already racing ahead, his thoughts consumed with the future. The colony was just the beginning. "Yes," he said, his voice firm and unyielding. "Let's build our future." They turned away from the plateau, making their way toward the command center, where the rest of the colony's operations awaited them. As they walked, the alien woman's presence was a quiet but powerful force at his side. Together, they would plan the next steps, the expansion of their domain, the exploration of unknown realms. The road ahead was unclear, filled with both peril and possibility, But Virgil was no longer the man he once was. He was no longer just a soldier or a commander. He was a leader, a ruler of a new world. And with the alien woman beside him, he knew that no force in the universe could stand in their way. They would face whatever came their way, whether it was challenges from other species, internal dissent, or the unknown vastness of space itself. Together, they would conquer the stars, and Astra Colony would be the foundation of everything they would build. As the doors to the command center slid open before them, Virgil paused, looking out over the sprawling colony below. The empty streets would soon be filled with life, the barren land transformed into a thriving hub of civilization. His heart swelled with pride. But beneath that pride was a quiet understanding. This was only the beginning. The future was theirs to shape. And as Virgil took his seat at the head of the colony, the alien woman at his side, it became clear that Astra Space Colony was not just a place, it was a vision. A vision that, for the first time, felt truly within their grasp. And so, the story continued as they charted their course into the unknown. Together, Virgil Brooks and the alien woman, rulers of a new era, the stars waiting for them, and no one left to stand in their way. In the end, the colony was theirs, and the universe, vast and untamed, would bend to their will.